This video is brought to you by Greater Commons. Greater learning, greater opportunities, greater life. Visit us at greatercommons.com.
Y'all ready for this? We're going to see how to serve. Yeah, I know it sounds like a song, doesn't it? We're going to see how to serve files. And we are working in the, if you're watching this online somewhere in the world, GitHub goes to 11 and Golang web dev. And also check out whatever, my YouTube channel, YouTube Todd McLeod, and Twitter Todd McLeod. You'll find me. You can do Twitter Todd McLeod POTUS because I'm running for President of the United States of America. I'm serious. All right, so serving files. Here we've got some examples. We're in 023, folder 023, and here's an example of something not serving, just FYI. And then here's the serving stuff. And so we could serve a file with IO copy. We could serve a file with serve content. We could serve a file with serve file. And we could serve a file with file server. So if you go and you look at like the net HTTP package, and that does all the web stuff, net HTTP, baby. We come in here and we look at that. Right here we have our listen and serve for serving web pages, and we have our handle func. We've been leaning on these two bad boys right there extensively, right, to get our stuff going. But now what we're going to start doing is like, how do we serve a file? And so down here we have serve content and we have serve file right there. And so serve content, there's just like a whole lot going on that page. Look at how long that function definition is. Right? So serve content's like, man, you got to tailor that stuff down and be specific, and you want to get low level. Serve content. Serve file. Does it say serve files? No. It says serve file. You want to serve one file. Response writer, request, file name. Looks like serve file might be able to do it for you, right? But if you want to serve files in a whole directory, you got to look for file server. And so there's file server, right? And file server takes in a root, file system root. Here's a file system. So it takes in a value of this type, and it's just called a root. And it's called that because it's like, hey, from this point down, we call something a root in web programming when it's like from this folder down. This is the root folder, and then cascade down into the folders inside that folder, that root, right? So that root on down, right, file server will serve a folder and down beneath it. So everything in this folder serve it. And it's a handler. So that means that we're going to probably have to do something like, you know, use that handler somewhere, somehow. So let's see what it looks like, see what the code looks like. So we're just going to jump in right and look at serve file. So I've got main.go and I got a file called toby.jpg. You ready for Toby? There's Toby. Aww, he's so cute until you have to go pick up dog poop after a week. And you're like, man, there's a lot of dog poop. Todd, sometimes you say the most extraordinary things. All right. I picked up dog poop today. It took me a while. HTTP serve file, right? And I'm just passing in the response writer and the request because that's what that asked for. And I'm saying we're going to serve the file Toby.jpg. And over here, when you go to default, runs this function, and I set a header. So headers, we haven't seen that yet. So headers are like telling a web browser what kind of document this is. And so there's different headers. And so you could use for your response writer, your header, you want to set it, and you give it the key, and its content type, and then you give it the value. So set takes a key and a value, and they're both strings. You get say that so content type header, and here's the value. It's text HTML charset UTF-8. Let me show you what that means. So let's say I just go to Greater Commons. and I launch this right here, and I look at my network, and then I reload this page, and it records things on my network. There's nothing on my network. Console sources, console network, timeline. We've built an amazing page. That's totally cool. Why am I not getting anything down? Let's go to Reddit. I'll figure out what I'm doing wrong here in a second. So developer tools is what I just launched. That's over here in settings. Settings right there. And nope, sorry. That's over there in more tools. I'm flustered all of a sudden. Developer tools. Right there, developer tools. Now I'm in the network tab. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. Because I have XHR checked, which is just for XML HTTP request, or AJAX. What's going on?
I guess you pick.
Yeah, help yourself. So I need to switch that to all. All right, and so here are all the files that came down. And so I could click on, hey, you brought down this document. It brought down a document, a style sheet, a script, and a JPEG. Right? And I could see here what's the weight. 3.6 kilobytes, 3.2 kilobytes, 1 kilobyte, 900 bytes, 215 kilobytes. Right? So your text is light, images are heavy. And if people are paying for bandwidth, or people have low bandwidth, and most people in the world have low bandwidth and are on mobile phones, right? Whoa. So you got to keep your pages light. The average page size today is 2,200 to 2,400 kilobytes. We are running right here for this one page 225, maybe 222 kilobytes. 222 versus 2,200, the average page. So we are 1/10 the size of the average page today. And performance is like key, like quick load, you know. So that's a nice page. But I wanted to show you this because I could click on this document that came down. I could click on any of these and I could get more information, right? And some of the information I get are headers. And so here's the general information, response headers, request headers. And the response header, here are the response headers that came back. Content type, text, HTML, charset, UTF-8. Nice. All right. And if I did Reddit, because I bless you. I did Reddit. Look at all that stuff that just loaded. Man, oh Lord. And it tells me now, and it's loading more stuff. Let's stop it. It tells me now 587 kilobytes. It finished after 14.58 seconds. We could try that again. Clear all that out. Reload it, because there's like a pause there. That time finished in 6.86 seconds, right? Versus here. Let me get out of this. Finished in 250 milliseconds. Bam! Nice. But you come up here and look at just this document, Reddit, and here are all their headers, including content type. So these are things that are just sent to the browser, so the browser knows how to kind of deal with the page. What kind of page is it? Well, the content type of this page is text HTML, and the character set for the encoding is UTF-8. The browser's like, good, that's the standard. If I didn't have, so let's just see this page run here. So I'm in 0230203. Oh, sort of that file, right? And if I look at my content type, text HTML, okay? What would happen if I didn't have that header being set? Sometimes I just throw those in for good measure. Ready? Here we go. It didn't interpret as HTML. What did it interpret it as? Text plain. What would happen if instead I had right? So I still have not set in the header, but now I'm including HTML and a doc type declaration saying this document's type is HTML. All right, what would happen now? All right, so I'm not this is still commented out where I'm setting my header content type text HTML, and when it's commented out before it just came back as text plain, but now I'm sending over an HTML document. What happens? Figures it out. But content type still content type's text HTML, not text plain. Interesting, right? Nuances. You are becoming a technician, like an engineer in BMW's factory, right? Engineering requires precision. It requires an intimate knowledge of the tools of your craft. If you go into somebody's workshop, whatever craft they specialize in, like a woodworker, let's say, and somebody's a serious woodworker, you walk into their workshop, you are like, get the heck out of here. What the heck is all this stuff? This is what we use to make furniture and do woodworking. It's like, you have got 80 different knives that look pretty much exactly the same. Well, no, slight differences. Look at this one here and that one. That's going to give you this little bevel edge. And this one here is going to give you that kind of a look on the edge of your furniture. Yeah, wow. A lot of details and nuances. But to be a craftsperson, you have to be intimate with the tools of your craft and the details, the nuances. And engineering is about precision. And creating software is a craft, and it's software engineering, and it's also an art. Because once you learn that craft, once you know all the details and nuances, you can take those tools and make something beautiful, like a woodworker. So, wow, that's functional and beautiful, and it's well engineered. Anybody could sit their big old butt in that. It's not going to break, and it just looks great. That's beautiful. All right. What's up? Versus not having it in HTML?
Yeah.
Well, the browser, if I just have the image on its own, like I had originally, like that, the browser, like right now, here's the code that came down, so we could choose view page source, and there's that code. It's HTML, right? That's what we sent over when it was all together. So now let's send this over and tell it it's HTML, just that text. And refresh it, and then view page source. Oh, I thought I was going to put the HTML in. Because that's the source, that's what came over. But if I go to inspect, it threw in the HTML. The browser sees it as HTML. Because I said this is HTML, so my browser said, okay, we'll give you some basic HTML. If that stuff you sent me is HTML, it needs to be inside HTML tags. You need to have a head tag, you need to have a body tag. So the browser did that for me. And then showed it as HTML. So, always you're going to create HTML pages and send over web pages, but now you're just learning some of the nuances and details of of this craft. And so right here, the main thing is we served a file, right? So you could serve files with serve a file. And you could like put it, oh, this is in the, this is in the public folder, right? And so I could create I don't want to screw up this code because this has all been taught and recorded, so I'm not going to screw it up. I could copy this and bring it back into our stuff up here. Heck, what are we in? We're in 29. So now I can screw it up. And I could say, hey, this is in the public folder. And then I could put a public folder. Public. And I could, inside public, if I wanted to, I could put a folder CSS. And I could put a folder images, right? And I could drop Toby into images. And I could do public, image. And so this is just file management kind of stuff. Now I need to go to that folder. Still totally works. All right? And so then I could start saying, well, I've got another image in here for another route. So if somebody like this was asking for Toby, so if that request came in for Toby, it then ran this function, served this, and served the file served, and the file served is this one. Is that, I mean, serve file is not too bad, right? It's cool, right? It's not too bad. It's just like, serve this file. That's it. Here's my response writer, my request. That's funny. Here's my response writer, my request. And then that's a file to send. Here it is. Send that file. So that's straightforward, but it's laborious. Every time you want to serve a file, you got to create a route. So we have file server, right? Just like we don't want to use from the template stuff. We don't want to use parse template. No, we don't want to use parse files. We want to use parse glob, right? Because parse files is like, oh God, I got to write out each one of the files in the list here. We just want to say, just everything in that folder, parse it, okay? And so that's why we want to use file server as opposed to serve file. Because file server is just like everything in this folder, serve it. But before we work with it, I know you guys like to code, and gals. So code up this example with serve file. Even if you just duplicate it, just prove to yourself it works on your machine.